What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Thank you for joining us here on odds.com. This is my NHL breakdown for Saturday, February 6th, and it will be my last video for 2 weeks. We are expecting the birth of my son on Monday, and I'm going to be taking 2 weeks off to be with my family. I still will be putting out NHL picks on my Twitter account. You can follow me there at Jimmy the Bag. But this will be my last video for 2 weeks. But then, fueled by the birth of my son, I'll come back with a vengeance. And we're coming off our best day of the year. 5-0 plus 5.15 units. Would it be in a 6-0 if I had just taken the plus money line on Columbus? Instead, I took a -1 at plus 217. And I know that those -1s have hurt me on teams -115 and better because I've had a lot of pushes and they would have cashed. I would be up. I'd be in positive units, and we'll get to the full record in a second. But this is supposed to be fun, and it excites me going for those big scores, and I'm going to continue to go for those big scores. I record all of my action. I keep a close eye on what's working and what isn't, and if throughout the course of the season this costs me a lot, then maybe I'll make changes for next year. But right now, I want giant scores because that brings joy to my life. 5-0 plus 5.15 units. We hit on Dallas Columbus over 5 at -130. We hit on Blue Jackets team total over 2.5 at -105. Vancouver Toronto over 6.5 at -120. Canucks team total over 2.5 at -135. Arizona St. Louis over 5.5 at +115. And it's been a tough year. And I took a lot of heat on social media for my early season disappointments. We are now 21-28, hitting at 42%. We're just down 4.67 units because I have an average line of +140. My ROI is -9.53%. But coming off a 5-0 day has me pumped up. I desperately want to succeed. That's why this Friday card on February 5th I didn't like. Just took it off. I've got lots of NBA action. Don't need to force it. And this Saturday card, which is usually this glorious, huge card, has been shaved down due to these COVID issues and COVID cancellations. I could have easily made a bet on the Islanders-Penguins game to add a little bit more excitement. But my whole plan of unders with the Penguins, with Chris Letang out of the lineup, and they have a bunch of injured defensemen other than Letang, but without Letang's outlet passes, was stymied because the Penguins were supposed to play the Devils, and the Devils were out with COVID, and so Pittsburgh had basically the week off, and now Letang looks like he's going to be back on Saturday. I still want to fade the Penguins. Do I want to do that with the Islanders? I deep dove into that Islander squad, and I don't want to sit here and break down a game and not have a play on it. There are 2 spots I want to attack on the Saturday card. And I'm sorry there's not more, but I have to succeed. NHL is my bread and butter every year, and it has to continue to be that way. 2 plus money spots. Let's get to work. 3 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Coyotes, 4-5-1, 1-3-0 on the road at the St. Louis Blues, 7-3-1, 3-2-1 at home. I am on going right back to the well on the over 5.5 at plus money. It's not the +115 that we got 2 nights ago. It's +110, and it is still a market mistake. And the best thing that you can possibly do in gambling is find the market mistakes and attack them until they're corrected, because they will be corrected. St. Louis Blues games aren't going to stay at 5.5, and while they are, we have to attack them. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to 5.5s at -110. Then they're going to go to 5.5s at -120. Then 5.5s at -125. Then they're going to hit 6. This game opened up with St. Louis at -155. You can get them at -150 up to -160. And in this total opened up at +110. It's still available at Bet365 at plus 110. It's even plus 114 at a couple books. It's plus 105 at others. The leading indicator books have moved it to plus 105 because cappers are going to hammer this. I bet you by puck drop, there's no longer a plus number beside this over 5.5. Let's talk about it. Enterprise Center, St. Louis, Missouri. Darcy Kemper is whom I expect in goal for the Coyotes. 2-5-1, 2.65 goals against average, 904 save percentage, 0 shutouts. Jordan Binnington is whom I expect in net for the Blues. 6-2-1, 2.62 goals against average, 0.915 save percentage. If either team doesn't go with their number one, that only helps our over. So there's no concern to get your bet early. The Yotes power play is at 19.4%. It's pretty good. It'll get better when Oliver Ekman-Larsson's back in the lineup. Their penalty killing is at 84.2%. It's good because Rick Tocchet is a good coach, and he gets a lot out of these bums, these small, easy to play against offensive forwards. And we'll get into that shortly. Let's talk about the Blues special teams. 11.1% power play. They are scoring a lot of goals, and their power play is hitting at 11%. This is a highly offensive team. And I know there was a belief when Vladimir Tarasenko was not going to be playing this year because of the shoulder injury, or at least the regular season, that this team might step back in offense. And that is clearly not the case. And we'll go over that soon. Their penalty killing, not very good, 71.1%. I expect it to improve, but Pietrangelo was a big part of their penalty killing unit. He's gone, and they're getting used to life without him. Parayko's a great defenseman. Torrey Krug is going to figure everything out, but it's got off to a bad start. Let's talk about these Coyotes first. These teams are coming off a 4-3 Coyotes win on Wednesday in a game that was 3-0 at the 56-minute mark. Would you say that we were lucky that we hit over 5.5? All I needed was the St. Louis Blues to pull their goalie. And as soon as they did, you knew they were going to do it early because they were down by 3 goals. So now you're telling me there's a chance. This Blues team has a lot of firepower with the goalie pulled. And then you have a Coyotes team that's shooting on empty net. So yes, we were fortunate. But it wasn't out of the question because we're only dealing with 5.5s. Rick Tocchet wants this Coyote team to play like him, but they are incapable. Rick Tocchet played with toughness, ferocity. He was accountable. He had truculence. All of these things that the Coyotes players don't have. He coaches a conservative defensive style, but they simply don't have the roster. His first line of Nick Schmaltz between Clayton Keller and Connor Garland their average weight is 170 pounds. That's going to be your number one group. It's ridiculous. I know that Chayka left the team, but that's what happens when you have sign a 26-year-old general manager. He may not have respect for old-time hockey. That first line is rated as the 6th worst first line in the NHL based on Corsi ratings, and frankly, I'm surprised they're that high. That's a bad first line. Their second line, Christian Dvorak between Drake Kagula and Tyler Pitlick, has a little bit more size. It averages 6 feet and 190 pounds, but their skill level is poor. They're rated as the 2nd worst second line in the NHL. Then you have Barrett Hayton, 5th overall pick in the 2018 draft, a center you have very high hopes for. Who do you put him with? You put him with Derek Brassard and Phil Kessel. Derek Brassard had 2 good seasons, and he sort of looked like the complete package, even though he's a smaller forward during those 2 years. Those years were 2014-15 and 2015-16. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe he scored 58 points in that 2014-15 year and 60 in that 2015-16 year. And the 2015-16 was his best season because he scored 27 goals that year. That was a long time ago. He's now ranked as the 136th best left winger in the NHL. 136. So each team has 4 left wingers on any given night. There's 31 teams in the league. So there's 124 left wingers. playing on each team. And Derek Brassard is ranked 136th due to his Corsi rank numbers. And then we have Fatty Phil Kessel. Looks like a highly rated player because he's beside Derek Brassard. He's the 64th best right winger in the NHL. If he's not scoring, what is he doing? Squad ass nothing is the answer. If that line of Brassard, the 5th overall draft pick, who you have such high hopes for in Hayton, and Fatty Phil aren't scoring, what are they doing? Fucking nothing. This market is behind on this Coyotes team, just like the market is behind on the St. Louis Blues team. And what that creates is the perfect storm for us to cash. And I'm going to go right back to the well. You're going to offer me a plus line? Our biggest battle in gambling is the juice. And when you get a chance to get a plus 110 on a total that you like, you have to bet it every single time. They also, this Coyotes team, have a very strange tendency, and this has been on for a while, to mimic the team that they're playing against. So when they play against the Ducks, it's very defensive hockey. When they play against a fast team like the Blues, offensive-minded team like the Blues, it's very high-paced, exciting hockey. That will continue as the year goes on, and you can really take advantage of situations because of that. So I expect a fast-paced game. They're hanging 5.5 at plus money. We attack it. We talked a lot about the Blues on Wednesday night, and I don't want to repeat myself, but this is an offensive team. There's an enormous misconception of them in the marketplace. This is not the Blues from last year or years past. Vladimir Tarasenko is not in the lineup, but they're more offensive than they were with him in the lineup. And why is that? Because there's snipers everywhere. Look at this. David Perron, Jordan Kyrou, Jaden Schwartz, Braden Shen, Mike Hoffman, Robert Thomas, Sammy Blais. And notice I didn't mention Ryan O'Reilly because he's not really a sniper. He's a face-off winning, tough, rugged. He's been a Stanley Cup champion as a first-line center. And did I think that 3 years ago when he crashed drunk into a Tim Hortons in the offseason? No. Did Joe Sakic think that when he wanted Ryan O'Reilly out of the dressing room? No. But he proved us wrong. Now, Joe Sakic's made a lot of the right decisions getting players out of the locker room, getting Matt Duchene and Tyson Barrie out of that locker room. He may have made a wrong decision with Ryan O'Reilly, but Ryan O'Reilly got the big contract from the Sabres, and he had to figure out who he was going to pay the big money to. That's beside the point. So you have these snipers. How many did I just name? And look at Kyrou. I mean, who would have thought he'd be their leading scorer? Then you add Torrey Krug to the back end. And what we've seen is a market mistake that we have to take advantage of. Blues should not be at 5.5, and they certainly shouldn't be at plus money at 5.5. That is bet number one. We move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Vancouver Canucks, 6-8-0, 2-6-0 on the road at the Toronto Maple Leafs, 8-2-1, 4-1-0 at home. We murked this game. We had Vancouver, Toronto over 6.5, cashed it. We had Canucks team total over 2.5, cashed it. Now, we probably should have had the Leafs team total over as well. But I did think there was a possibility of the Canucks stepping up. And when we saw that Thatcher Demko was going to be in net, and that was decided late, Thatcher Demko being given the opportunity to take the reins as the number one goalie for this Canucks team in a very important game, I thought, I'd made the right decision. I said on the show I would never bet the Canucks with Braden Holtby in that. That's whom I thought was going to be between the pipes. Let's talk about this spot here. First, let's take a look at the market. This total opened up at 6.5 at minus 125, and it's being bet up. Bet up. Now, I can't take the under here. But I'm certainly not going to go right back to the well with the over. And we'll talk about why that is. And the public's going to be all over this. Is this the first 7 of the year? Quite possibly. And if this is a 7, I'd be hesitant to go under it because it's going to be juiced at minus 125 or minus 130. We'll see. If it can come down to minus 120, I will certainly think long and hard on it. From a money line perspective, we have the Leafs at minus 185. You can get them between minus 180 and minus 190, and that's going to go up. That's going to go up. Money's going to come in on them. So Braden Holtby will be between the pipes. Now, he's been very bad this year. He has looked so awful for that 4.2 mil that we're giving him. Frederik Andersen should be back in net for the Leafs. 6-2-1, 3.01 goals against average, 888 save percentage. He doesn't look very good in this early season. The Vancouver Canucks power play before Wednesday's game, I believe it was at 14%. I said by the end of the year, it'll be at 24%. There's going to be extra goals coming in on that power play. It's going to be a strong power play. It's now at 16.3% after one game. It's a very strong power play. 80.3% penalty killing. That's a surprise because of how weak this defense has been. The Leafs power plays at 40%. It's just, it looks very, very good. And they've got a ton of snipers. And we don't want to rehash everything that we said 48 hours ago on the show, but we broke down their top 4 snipers and how good they are. Their penalty killing is 75.6, and I expect it to be poor throughout the season. Canucks are coming off an ugly 7-3 loss to these Leafs on Wednesday night. Thatcher Demko looked terrible, but the team in front of him didn't help. Now, I rallied against the signing of Braden Holtby. I hated it. I thought use that money for Toffoli. This is why they signed Braden Holtby, to be that stabilizing veteran netminder. And this team needs one badly right now. If Holtby is able to come in here and hold the fort down and have his first good game of the year, he's got a goals against average just under 4, save percentage way under 900. If he's able to come in here and hold the fort down, then I will quietly, alone in the corner, apologize to Jim Benning for all the horrifying things I said about him when he made the trade. They were outshot 37-19. Are they quitting on Travis Green? Because it felt that way. They even had a rare loss in the faceoff circle. Remember last year, they had number 2, number 6, and number 7 in the entire league in faceoffs. And JT Miller, Jay Beagle, and Horvat. Their defense looks awful. And it's not just because Travis Hamonic is out. Nate Schmidt has not looked good since he got popped for PEDs in 2018. Tyler Myers was a terrible signing, and we went into that 48 hours ago on the show. And you have to give Quinn Hughes, your future, a better defensive partner than Jordy Ben. With all that being said, I still think this team is capable of righting the ship. Do I want to back the Canucks full game? No. No, I don't want to put my money on the Vancouver Canucks full game. But I expect them to come out very, very hard. And I expect them to come out fast. And if they don't, heads are going to roll. Travis Green is going to be fired. Jim Benning is going to be fired. There were high expectations for this team this year. And if we get embarrassed in Toronto, the press is going to be all over these guys. And I want Jim Benning fired. I'll never forgive him for drafting Ole Uolevi over Matthew Tkachuk. Where's Uolevi now when our defense is in shambles? He's on the taxi squad. The Leafs have to be vulnerable early. They feel very good about themselves at 8-2-1. They have an extremely weak defense. They have not had a tough schedule so far. They played Ottawa, Edmonton, Calgary. I just feel like they're going to be vulnerable. Where are we going to get a spot to attack them? I don't want to go right back to the well on the over because the Canucks have to play differently. Are they capable of playing tighter defensively? Maybe not. Public's going to be all over this over. Remember, 2 nights ago, we got the over at minus 120. Right at puck drop, money had come in on the under. That over was just at minus 115. That's not going to be the case. This is going to be bet huge. The biggest detriment of our gambling is a recency bias and a vividness bias that needs to be talked about. You have to be consciously aware of it. And most gamblers are not. And that's why I always talk about the book, the Michael Lewis book, The Undoing Project. It's the best book for gambling I've ever read before. And it's not a gambling book. Michael Lewis wrote Moneyball. Go out and read The Undoing Project. So, to tie this all up, I'm not saying back the Canucks full game. I will be backing the Canucks first period, expecting a statement. Now, the big thing here is if you are going to do anything with the Canucks, wait. Wait as long as you possibly can. Wait till 5 minutes before puck drop if you can. Money's going to pour in on the Leafs. More and more money's going to pour in on the Leafs. And for good reason. The Canucks look awful. So, I can't lock in my Canucks first period, and I won't until very late. But these are the 2 plus money spots I will be betting on my Saturday card. Over 5.5 at plus 110 has already been locked in. Coyotes, Blues. And then Canucks first period. Something nice. I bet you when it comes out, it's going to be plus 145. And I think I can get better than that. And I'm not going to take the Canucks plus a half. One of my key rules is to never turn a dog into a favorite, ever. I will never play a plus 1.5, and I will only play a first period plus a half if I still get a plus number. I will not take it if it's a minus 110. Never turn a dog into a favorite. Stick to that rule. There you have it. It's my last video for 2 weeks. Thank you guys very much for your support. The NHL videos are getting more views, and odds is noticing, which is going to allow me to put more time into NHL, which is what I desperately want to do. It's my favorite sport other than horse racing. Let's get paid in full. Let's get that cash. Good luck out there. Coming off a 5-0 day. Let's keep it rolling.